The codes that we are going to talk about is Angular 245 codes. So we can say Angular codes in short. So this Angular is a new technology or old technology? Answer is a old technology only, but upgraded recently. Previously, Angularjs 1 was available. That was available in 2010. It's a old technology only. But now in 2014, Angular 2 was released. In which year? 2014, Angular 2 was released. So when the Angular 2 is released, so the people just no, shock like anything because it's entirely different from AngularJS 1. The people who are already working in AngularJS 1 just scared about this Angular 2 actually because it's entirely different coding standards, the coding style, the project folder structure, the files that we use, the language that we use entirely different. Just in the further moments, I'm going to tell what are the differences also. What is the exact differences between AngularJS 1 and 2 also that we will discuss. But one thing is for sure, it's entirely different from AngularJS 1 to Angular 2. And later, Angular 3 is skipped. Why Angular 3 is skipped? Any idea? Any guess? Angular 3 is skipped, right? Why? Yesterday we have discussed. Any guess? So one of the package is like a, yeah. So one of the package Angular slash router package was available. That was already 3.4 was released. All remaining packages like Angular slash core 2.0, Angular slash common 2.0. Don't worry, just I will explain what this core, common, router, all these things later. Just version numbers you have to focus. So we have several other packages like core, common, router, platform browser, all these things. And only one package became 3.4 version. All the remaining packages became in 2.0 only. After this moment, again they want to release 3.0. Then what should be the new version number for Angular router? See, already 3.4 of router is released. Now they want to release the 3.0 suppose. Then what should be the version of router? Not correct, right? 3.4 already released. Now they want to release the 3.0, but 3.0 already there. So there is a versioning problem because the router package become matured, already pre-matured. That's why to overcome this versioning problem, they skipped the version 3, they directly long jump to Angular 4. So this Angular 4 was released in the year of 2017. And also in the 2017 November itself, Angular 5 was released. So this is like 2017, which year? Angular 4 March. So this will be November 2017, same year to first half, second half. Okay. So now just Angular 6 is going to come. You're very lucky because just about to release the Angular 6. Even the previous batch also did not get the Angular 6. Your batch is getting Angular 6 because it's just about to release in the year of April 2018, about to release. Just already RC versions are released. I think RC 4 or 5 something released. Just you can check. Latest information you can check. Angular changelog we can just see. Angular changelog means it is displaying the list of releases. So just the latest is RC5 is released on April 14. Okay, just a few days back. So maybe by this end of this month, definitely they will release the final version of Angular. So what you can see, RC means what? Release candidate. What you can say is, suppose there is one movie. Okay, there is a movie just about to release. They're keeping some pre-release function right now. Just in the 3-4 days itself, it is going to release. Okay, just a few days back, few days before, they are keeping something called pre-release event to create some hype and interest for that movie, right? So that is nothing but RC, release candidate. So just in few days itself, it is going to release fully. So that is for sure. And Angular 7 also already announced. Angular 7 also announced in the November 2018. Understand? So just like how the November 2017 has Angular 5, same way in November 2018 you will get Angular 7. But here the silly point is Angular 2, 4, 5, 6 mostly same, 95% same kind of packages, same kind of programming style, same language, almost equal. In case somebody has learned Angular 2, he can easily understand Angular 4, 5, 6 also. Even hopefully Angular 7 also. Maybe small changes, bug fixes, small improvements if you go deeper, maybe there. But overall development experience is exactly same only. What concepts are available? Same concepts repeats in between Angular 2, 4, 5, 6, and 7, whatever the feature releases, except some small improvements and small addition of topics. Big topics not increasing, just a small topics only getting increased. So syllabus wise and coding wise, you don't feel any kind of much difference between all these versions, except some small syntax improvements. But AngularJS 1 versus Angular 2 entirely different. So that's what the topic is about. Today we have to discuss what is the difference between AngularJS 1 and Angular 2. So before that, one question I'm asking, like I want to understand this Angular 245. Can I call it as Angular 2 plus? 2 plus, can I call it? Yes. Right or wrong? See, 2, 4, 5, 6, whatever these are all what? 2 plus. 2 is a starting version, right? So 2 plus we can set 2, 4, 5, 6, whatever. So if you compare this AngularJS 1 and Angular 2, I want to understand this Angular 2. Okay, to understand Angular 2, do we have to know the AngularJS 1? Is it like compulsory we should know AngularJS 1, then only you're qualified to understand Angular 2? Is it like that? No. Since both are two different frameworks, concept wise, coding wise, project folder structure wise, entirely different. So there is no any kind of dependencies of Angular 2 and AngularJS 1. Both can be individually developed, individually we can learn. In case if you are really interested, both you can learn. That too either parallelly you can learn or one after another. But nowadays, this no need of learning AngularJS 1 actually. Angular 2 is itself is enough because most of the existing companies and existing projects already migrate into which one? Angular 2. So present market job, the what can say job market itself shifted to Angular 2. Angular 2 means Angular 245, whatever. AngularJS 1 already going out of the market. So now again re-spending the time for understand AngularJS 1 not required. Anyway, so we are not covering AngularJS 1 here actually. We are covering only Angular 245. So if you can check the job market, just you can learn your trending technologies. Just you can check a LinkedIn site. So how many jobs it is offering, we have to verify here. LinkedIn site. So I want to get a job. Okay, right. Fine. Based on which one? Okay, based on Angular. So it's around 7,000 change results available here, more than 7,000. So, and at the same time, one thing is for sure, don't expect only based on Angular. They ask the combination of different set of technologies also. Suppose they may ask like Angular plus Java. They may ask Angular plus ASP.NET MVC. They may ask Angular plus complete UI. They may ask Angular plus HTML5, CSS3, jQuery. So they will have different expectations. For example, you will take this one. This job is particularly based on mainly Angularjs, but even though it is mainly based on Angularjs, they are not expecting only based on Angularjs. They also expect C, HTML5, CSS3. They're asking or not. Web API they're asking or not. Web API means it is related to .NET actually. So jQuery, Angular 4, Angular 4 means 5 or whatever, Bootstrap, okay. Now JSON, DOM, okay, REST APIs. REST API means AJAX calls. We have a topic like AJAX, right? Even in Angular also we have REST API calls. That will show no problem. Like this, they expect a combination. So with including combinations with the different types of combinations only, this type of 7,000 types of jobs available right now in Angular for in India. Okay. So if we check this US market for Angular, it is 18,000 change results available. Of course, there are also different combinations they expect. So wherever you go, strong knowledge they expect. Just basic knowledge nobody will entertain, because in this heavy market under this hectic situations, if we just know the basics, I will say, okay, I know just basics. I know the basic definitions, basic programs I can run, but I'm not much confident. Who will entertain you? So strong knowledge is required. Anything, not only Angular, anything, strong knowledge, perfect knowledge is required. So then only they can expect some jobs. Clear. So anyways, one of the most trending technologies in UI is what Angular. That is for sure. And that too, this Angularjs 1 is not required to learn right now, because very less number of job offers, and even you get this job based on this also, that is very hard to maintain, because they definitely shift to Angular 2 in the nearby future. So but technical comparison is required. What are the exact difference between Angularjs 1 and Angular 2? Forget about the jobs and all. Technically, what is the comparisons? First, I will explain some similarities between them, common points about them. Both are meant for based on avoid the direct DOM manipulations. Both AngularJS 1 and Angular 2, whatever, both flavors of Angular is mainly meant for avoiding the direct DOM manipulations. Hey user, don't perform DOM manipulation directly. Avoid it directly. Direct interaction with the DOM manipulation, never do that. Avoid it. That is a clear-cut indication given by AngularJS or Angular 2. Angular 2 in the sense 2.4.5 you can always assume. So what is the meaning of DOM manipulations in ERD? DOM means what? Document Object Model. So here DOM means the tree structure of the elements. Suppose you take this page itself, how many elements this page contains? You can say different hyperlinks, different drop down list, some paragraphs, headings, different things available. Every element present here is called as one tag. And imagine some tree structure of the tags. First there will be one element, inside that another element, inside that one heading, suppose inside that another image, just beside that one text box, like this and so on. So assume all these things in a hierarchical structure. That hierarchical structure is called as a DOM. I'll show one example also, just a DOM example just. So what is this? Document object model events. So any one example you take, suppose you take this one, so document. Inside the document you will have HTML. Okay, inside HTML you will have head and body. Understanding? So like this, every element has some children. That child again have children, just like that. So you can also take any other alternative example. Okay, this one is different. This one is some table DOM. So whatever it is, hierarchical structure is a common point. Okay, definitely hierarchical structure. The hierarchical structure of your HTML elements of the web page is called as a DOM. And what is the meaning of DOM manipulations? Programmatically, we can pass commands to browser. Hey browser, add the new element to DOM. Hey browser, delete the element from the DOM. Hey browser, update some element in the DOM. So we can pass some commands to the browser. That browser commands is nothing but DOM manipulations. So who will perform the DOM manipulation? Developer will write the coding. When the code executed, DOM manipulations are done. So overall, developer only is performing DOM manipulations because of his code only the DOM manipulations will execute. So developer only performing the DOM manipulation. Developer is directly performing the DOM manipulations right now. So the traditional UI development is just developer directly perform the DOM manipulations. That is a traditional development. Okay, developer is performing the DOM manipulation, but avoid this please. Avoid the direct DOM manipulations. Avoid the direct DOM manipulations to DOM. Alternatively, you can do one thing. Keep the DOM aside. Okay. So you have to use something called as some framework. Suppose Angular framework. This can be Angular framework. This can be React.js framework. This can be Ember.js framework. This can be any other framework, whatever you talk about. So the developer has to use write the code for Angular kind of framework, and the Angular framework internally will perform the DOM manipulations. So the developer will be far away from the DOM. Developer always target his code to Angular. Developer is writing the coding in Angular, otherwise React.js or whatever the names it may be. That framework will perform the DOM manipulation. So just like instead of I send a message to you, I will send a message to your friend. Okay, your friend will send a message to you. Your friend is a Angularjs here. Understand? So we are not performing the direct DOM manipulations. We perform the same through Angular. So what is the advantage of this? If you perform the direct DOM manipulations, what is the problem? Your code directly depends on the DOM. In case if the DOM changes, your code also needs to be changed. And moreover, the code will not be unit testable. For example, the developer is performing DOM manipulation directly. There is no Angular. In such cases, what are the code you write? Since this code is like document dot create document dot get element by ID, some IDs, for example, para1. So this type of statements available. So this statement directly perform the DOM manipulation, will access the element called P1, I mean ID equal to para1. This element will be directly retrieved from the DOM and direct operation will perform, such as manipulating it without having any mediator. But this code is basically depend on the DOM. That means if the DOM changes, this code needs to be changed. That is one problem. And also another code is sometimes you may need to repeat the code. For same kind of work, you will repeat the code. If similar DOM manipulation needs to be performed in two different situations, repetition of the code occurs. And also this code is not unit testable. That means you are not able to write test cases based on this. That is the reason you should not write this type of DOM manipulation code. You will just write some kind of code that is related to Angular. Suppose this is some Angular code, maybe React.js code, whatever the framework you are using. So this code is executed against the Angular. Angular will understand this code. Angular will automatically generate the DOM manipulation related code internally. So in that way, you are far away from the DOM. In that way, your code will be independent of the DOM. In that way, even though we, even that the DOM changes, automatically your code need not be changed. Understand? So that's why we will avoid the DOM manipulation. To make your code independent of the DOM, you will go for you will avoid the DOM manipulation. You have to stick to using the framework like Angular or React or several different options available. Out of all these things, Angular is number one for sure. So just have a look at once. Again, we come back to India. Okay, for example, in India, so just we search for Angular, so it is showing 7,000 kind of results. Suppose we search for Ember.js. How many jobs available? Let's check. How many jobs available for Ember.js? 275. Okay, it is definitely less than Angular or not. Otherwise, you can search for Backbone.js. It's around 574 results. And also, for example, you can say, okay, React.js. So 1600. Yes, React.js also good, but it will be definitely second place than Angular. So first place is what? Angular. Second place go to React.js also. Okay. Yeah. DOM changes means the elements will change. Suppose we'll say in online shopping site, you selected one product. Okay, it has displayed 1,000 rupees in one place. If you select one more product which cost 500, the total will increase or not? Total it will show 1,500 or not? That is DOM changes, also called as DOM manipulations. Got the point now, Veeramani? So avoiding the DOM manipulation is the one common point between AngularJS 1 or Angular 2, not only for Angular but also for React.js or any other similar frameworks. And another point is you will perform data bindings. Data bindings means you will store some data in some place and you will display the data in another place. Storage in one place, displaying another place, that is called data bindings. Let's try to understand this point. Okay, first you want to tell me what data you want to display about the user. Okay, suppose there is some student exam results page available. www.studentexamresults.com is a website name, suppose. And what are the details you want to display in the student exam results? Any guess? Okay, student roll number you have to display or not? Roll number. Student hall ticket number you have to display or not? And student name you have to display or not? And student class, which class he studied, some class name you have to display or not? and overall grade you have to display or not. So all these things you will display, and also subject details you have to provide. Suppose what you can say subject 1 and how many marks he got. Subject 2, how many marks he got, and so on. How many subjects we have, we want that many. So all this information, whatever you want to display in this web page, first we have to store somewhere else. What's the point about data bindings I told? Storage in one place, display in another place. What data exactly you want to display, first you have to decide and tell me. That data only we have to store inside one JavaScript object. Inside one JavaScript object, you have to store that. How to create JavaScript object like this, right? It is a JavaScript object or not? Inside the JavaScript object, just will store one property with value. Property, colon, value. Another property, another value, and so on. You will write a number of properties. So this property, for example, you can say student roll number. What is the roll number you want to display? 1, 2, 3, 4. Right. Hall ticket number 5, 6, 7, and so on. You will store a number of properties like this. Okay, you will store the class, grade, grade points, whatever. So once we store all this data, this property value available, right? That property value you will display in this place. This value you will read and display in this place. And moreover, this is called two-way data binding. What is the meaning of two-way data binding? If you modify in one place, automatically opposite it will change automatically. See, if you modify the student roll number in this text box, okay, the same will be automatically updated in the corresponding object, because this text box has a connection with the property of the object, right? So we will modify some value in this text box. Automatically the value gets updated in the corresponding property. And we will modify the property value, the same gets updated in the text box. So both mutually gets updated. Text box value will modify here, property value updated there. Property value update there, text box value gets modified mutually. That is called two-way data binding. So both Angularjs 1, Angular 2.4.5, even React.js also supports a common point, data bindings. Ember.js supports what? Data bindings. Backbone.js supports what? Data bindings. There are some other frameworks also that supports data bindings. For example, Vue.js. So many similar frameworks are supporting one point, data bindings. What do you mean by data bindings? You will store the data in one object and you will display the data in another view, another HTML code. Suppose the text boxes. And you will modify the value of the text box, the same automatically update in the property. And you will modify the value of the property, the same gets updated in the text box. These automatic updations are available, right? That is called data bindings. Got the point clearly? Automatic updations, automatic no changes. That is what data bindings. If the data bindings are not done, think about it. No more updates. Even though the data changes in the memory, the output will show like old data only. You're updating some latest data in the object. The output you will see old object only, old details only in the web page. Again, one more thing, even the user is modifying the text box value there, that is not reflecting in the object. So in the database, it will store only old data. That's why automatic updates required or not. There should be automatic coordination or not. That's why what you can say data bindings required. But this data bindings cannot be achieved only through HTML, CSS, JavaScript. Through any framework only it is possible. Any one framework, either Angular.js 1 or Angular 2 plus or React.js, any one framework is required clearly. Then only you are able to create these data bindings. Otherwise we cannot. HTML, CSS, JavaScript is not meant for data bindings, but we can achieve the data bindings by using Angular or React or this type of other frameworks. Here I'm using this type of frameworks. I'm not saying this type of languages because Angular is a framework. Angularjs 1, Angular 2.4.5 both are what? Frameworks. What is the meaning of framework? The predefined skeleton of the project is a framework, predefined model, predefined structure of the project. See, the developer is confusing. I know a language, but how do we create a real-time application? I don't know, he is saying. Language rules he know, syntax he know, all the concepts he know, but how to start the real-time project he don't know. That is explained by the framework. Framework is providing some set of project structure and necessary compilers to compile the code, necessary runtime engines to execute the code, necessary testing related libraries for unit testing. You want to make sure the code is working or not. So all this environment is provided by the frameworks to create the project, to maintain the project, the project folder structure, to compile the project, to execute the project. So all these development activities are provided by the frameworks. So AngularJS 1 or Angular 2 or React.js, all these are examples of what? Frameworks. What is JavaScript? JavaScript is a language. It only explains about the concepts like variables means what, conversion functions are what, DOM manipulations are what. Only this basic stuff explained by about the JavaScript, explained by JavaScript. But based on that, how to do real-time application development, that's only possible through Angular or React or any type of this type of this type of frameworks. Okay. So these are the some of the similarities between AngularJS 1 and Angular 2. One more similarity I can say, and both are meant for single page application development. Single page application development. Single page application development is once a page opened, you never want to refresh. That is single page application development. See this. See this. For example, I just opened this LinkedIn site. Okay, LinkedIn site available. Okay, now I'm selecting jobs. Observe carefully. And just selecting which one? Jobs here. Is the page refreshing? Is the complete page refreshing? No, right? I'm just selecting jobs. I'm suppose I'm selecting some place also I'm changing, Hyderabad or something. Is the page refreshing? Notice? Chennai, I'm just saying. Is the page refreshing? No. The page is stable as it is. Only its content is updating. This jobs list is available, right? The content only updating. Okay. So only you want to update the content, but you don't want to refresh the page from the top to bottom. I'll go one more example. Suppose you would like to say Gmail. In Gmail, just I'm not entering the first name, but I'm just clicking outside. No, I'm just typing Harsha out here. Okay, here I'm just typing Harsha. Automatically, okay. Okay, this page has been changed. Okay, just actually the previous old page, remember, when you enter the username, it is just displaying this username already used by other user. It is displaying a below message or not. So at the time, is the page refreshing? Not refreshing, right? Otherwise, take one more example. In Facebook, already suppose 10 likes available. You click on one more like. When you click on one like, is the page refreshing completely? Top to bottom, complete page refreshing? No. Otherwise, in YouTube, we have just added some comment for the video. Is the complete page refreshing? No. Yeah, only the likes count will increase. Otherwise, in Gmail is the best example. So in Gmail, once we log in Gmail fully, in inbox appear, no? We may click on the mail, we may click on reply, forward, send, receive, anything, lot of buttons available. Any button you click, any hyperlink you click, is the page refreshing? No. So that's what the single page application is about. Once you want to load the page, you never want to refresh the page. That is called single page application development. That is a goal of the Angularjs 1 and Angular 2 also. Angularjs 1 and Angular 2 is mainly meant for a development of single page application. Of course, it can also be used for normal application development. I mean, traditional applications also you can develop, but it is mainly meant for what? Single page application development. Okay, so avoid the direct DOM manipulations, perform the data bindings, and it's a framework and mainly meant for single page application development. These are the four similarities between AngularJS 1 and Angular 2. These are similarities, not differences. So next we have to discuss about the differences between AngularJS 1 and Angular 2, and also what are the differences between AngularJS and this React.js. Okay, that comparison we'll see. So how Angular is better than React or better than any other alternative, that we will see. So all these things we will understand in the next lesson. Clear now.